Greetings program. So today's video is my NHL 22 goalie build. This is something that has taken quite some time to create and adjust, and I'm sure I'll fine tune it in the future. And this video is a little bit late. I should have filmed it a couple months ago or so, but for now, this is what I rock. So I'll break down everything right now. Now, as a goalie, there are 6 major issues this year in NHL 22 that hurt us. Number 1 is the 5-hole seal. So for some reason, the puck is going in the 5-hole at an alarming rate this season more than ever, and it really sucks. I don't know why it's doing this. I have expressed my concern personally to the devs of the game, and they know that I don't like it, and I'm certain other goalies, the ones that are maybe game changers, maybe those are even on social media, are expressing the same concern. So they definitely know that 5-hole is messy this year, and we hate how many goals kind of are let through there. Of course, for the time being, to combat this is to manually butterfly, which I've been told by the devs, but even manually butterflying fights you in your momentum as it kind of carries you out of position some of the time. Number 2, there are a bunch of very weird bounces that go under arms, etc. for goals. I do understand this is good for goal variety, and this is, I guess, year 1 of having the new puck physics on the Frostbite engine, but as a goalie, this really sucks. You can throw, you know, an X factor of sponge on, and it just does not fix it at all. So there's really nothing you can do. I do like the variety. I do like that it is like a real life hockey, you know, crazy bounces happen, but as a manual goalie, like, it's already impossible to play the position. Like, why are you making it harder on us? Number 3 is I cannot cover the puck. No matter if you tap or hold the Y button, I believe you're supposed to hold it, but covering the puck this year is harder to do. It adds up to more goals being scored instead of being blown dead. I believe the game wants goals, so I don't know, it just really stinks that the inception of the goalie mode in Chel, I believe goalies were probably diving at skaters to cover pucks, and maybe skaters were mad, so they toned it down to where almost the mechanism doesn't work at all, and that really sucks. Number 4 is general puck towards the net magnetism. Now this year I've experienced so many goals scored against me where the puck just seems to want to find its home, and its home is in the back of the net, unfortunately. I've had pucks hit the post, hit my butt, and go in. I've had pucks bounce off the boards and then hit me and then go in. I've had instances where my goalie doesn't even want to do a save animation. There's just so much chaos this year. It's crazy. And there's nothing you can really do either. You can post hug to stop these crazy things from happening, but then you open yourself up to a cross crease one-timer with your late reaction coming off of the post with the right stick. It's very difficult this year as a goalie. Number 5. The new X factors are so overpowering to goalies, mostly close quarters and heat seeker. You can be in perfect position, and if the game wants a goal, it'll get that goal. Close quarters probably legit needs to just be deleted. There's no reason for its existence. Maybe you can have it in the regular game modes, but like, yes, there are players that maybe score more in the slot than others. I do make a custom roster. I do know this is a thing, but it's being kind of spammed in World of Chel. Literally any player ever probably scores in the high danger areas of the slot, so I don't really see the necessary need of it. Get rid of it. And of course, number 6, cross crease goals. They will never die. Hopefully, actually, they do. People literally stop on a breakaway to get a cross crease guaranteed goal. The culture needs to change. There needs to be more random goals in Chel that people really don't rely on cross crease as much in the future. So the question remains, how do we all combat this as a goaltender? The answer is we really can't, but we can try. So what you want to go for is balance when creating a build. So what should you focus on when building that balance? What goals can you give up that your teammates will not be mad at you? So those goals would be cross creases, screens, deflections / tip-ins, funny bounces like 5-hole or under the arms, and then rebounds / multi-chance goals. What is your fault as a goaltender is if you are biting or impatient on dekes. And number 2, being out of position. So Patrick Waugh said it best, goaltending is all about positioning. And if you're out of position, even by a hair in this game, you will be sniped. So before I get into my new NHL 22 goalie build, just quickly show off my old NHL 21 goalie build, which is a hybrid base, 6'5" height, 181 weight, cross crease master. It kind of gives like a great speed boost on moving to cover the one-timers. The purple 5-hole, which is a +5 to cover the 6'5", lowering of the 5-hole seal to make it an even 87 for all 5 holes. And then I added the purple dueler +3 for the poke check and breakaway boost of a +5. Now this year, all those traits and boosts are nullified due to the new X Factor driven system. So here is my NHL 22 build. So what player class do we start with? Let's look at stand-up to start. So there are no real stand-up goalies anymore. That technique actually died in the 90s. However, for the sake of this game and this video, the stand-up default build has higher glove ratings than lower and is really good for sixes play. However, the lower glove and recovery and rebound rating kind of stinks. So X-ray is good for seeing through screens and sixes. It's almost useless for threes. Like I said previously, teammates will be mad at you for being screened and letting in goals, so skip this one. So last stand, this one's obviously great for threes and the insane amount of breakaways and penalty shots you will be facing, but I do not recommend using it. All or nothing, completely skip this unless you live and die by the poke check. This one's interesting because in theory it should stop a lot of one-timers, but it does not, so I skipped this one as a zone ability. I did rock it for the longest time as a superstar ability, but even recently I dropped it. Dialed in. So this one actually is kind of useless because it takes at least, what, 2/3 of the game, and it's like the third period to actually ignite? Sure, that's good for clutch time, but your team's gonna have to give up a lot of shots for that to trigger. As you see, none of these are really great, and stand-up really isn't a good base to kind of build on. So we're gonna skip that guy and go to the next one, which is butterfly, even though it says hybrid. Butterfly. So sponge zone ability. In theory, this guy should stop the weird bounces that trickle in, but as you see with this clip I recorded, it does not work. In my second shot in testing, the puck trickles right in, and my rebound rating was 89 for that build. Skip sponge. One-timer, skip. Dialed in, skip. Post to post. Now, post to post is my second favorite zone ability, and here's why it's one of the best. It triggers for A, one-timers, B, behind the net play, C, nearby post generic saves, and D, nearby generic post breakaway saves. It covers a lot of saves, and that's very helpful for us. However, I did recently shift away from post to post, and I actually used the next zone ability, which is called butterfly effect. This is my ability of choice. I have a theory that the best X factors in World of Chel are unlocked towards like the end of level 50 progression. So like for skaters, close quarters, elite edges, truculence, heat seeker. For us goalies, butterfly effect right here is that dude to counter and combat all of those. It triggers the most out of all the save opportunities for us. A, in butterfly position. B, in glove saves. C, on breakaways. D, on one-timers. E, on wraparounds. F, on diving poke checks. And G, in split V's sprawl saves. It's amazing. Now, it's not foolproof. The game will let a heat seeker score on you, as well as a weird 5-hole bounce, but it would also stop them. However, I'm not going to use this build. I'm going to be using the hybrid build. The hybrid build is the best to use in the game because it has the most balance. It has equal high-low and glove hands, and it has very good reflexes and recovery. It is great for both threes and sixes. The hybrid has the zone abilities, starting off with the contortionist. I admit it's quite awesome. You can make some really athletic saves, and it's a joy to put on a show. However, the contortionist saves really don't trigger as much as they should, and we need to cover as many saves as possible, not just the flashy ones. However, I have seen it cover cross-crease shots about rarely. So I put my height on at 6'5" for a bigger guy, a bigger net presence, physical intimidation, a better chance of making those saves due to the length of my avatar's body. If your avatar is at a lower height, you will not be making those saves because your avatar has shorter legs and doesn't cover as much when doing the sprawl V saves. You just gotta get as much leverage as you can. So for weight, I go 190 for the speed. I don't really care so much for the rebound control. So the zone ability you already know, butterfly effect. Our theme here is coverage. So what superstar abilities do we go with? Now I did recently change these. Before they were no timer right here, and then it was also the contortionist. So I had this guy, and that was my build with the post to post as the zone ability. And now I rock this. Number 1 would be light work. Number 2 is heavy padding. Now what I'm doing is I'm stacking my abilities to double coverage the butterfly effect to make my odds greater of making a save. If it's a wrist shot high glove, butterfly effect's got it. Slap shot from the corner, I got it. Of course it's not perfect, but I want to make as many saves as possible. Now onto the equally important stuff, trait bumps, which is called boosts here. Now these are going to be based on what the devs told me, which is, quote, all models are based off of ability and reaction time, end quote. So here are the big areas we need boosted in order of importance of my own testing and personal liking. Number 1, speed. Now, if you boost your speed, your right stick slides are faster, your increased mobility is faster if you don't use the right stick. Like say if you're just coming a breakaway, you want to move side to side to cover the puck. If you're in better position, you have a better chance of making the save. Speed will get you in that place. Number 2 is recovery. In case you're out of position, in order to make a second chance save, recovery has your back. This game sometimes has a lot of multi-chance opportunities for the opposition, so recovery is important to have up there high. Number 3, agility, to make quicker movements when changing direction and better chances of making a save. Number 4, breakaway. You'll have plenty of these in 3s, but they're not as important as the other 2. Number 5 is 5-hole, in case you have to rely on the autosave for 5-hole this year and just manually butterfly if you can. So the 2 that will be making the cut for boosts are agility and speed. So I'll bump those 2 traits, reflex agility and reflex speed. You get a +2 for both. Now here's where we can fine tune our build, the attribute system. Now I believe the biggest gain as a goalie is this year's attribute system. You can take points away and add them back into other categories, but it's balanced where you can't take, all the points away from one area and bump them into another and stack them. So after playing around with the trait bumps, I found a build that's best suited for my style of play and saving as many pucks as possible. We are not gonna touch the lower hands, but we're gonna go for the upper hands. We're gonna go here for passing. We're gonna go -3, and then we're gonna go +1 for each glove hand to give them a 90 overall. For quickness, we're gonna go over here. We're gonna dump down poke check -3, drop it down to 87. Agility actually -1. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna pump all that points, those 4 SPs that are remaining here for the speed boost. And we're gonna make that guy a 95 speed. So the last one right here, positioning, we're gonna get real fancy. So what we're gonna do is drop rebound down a -5, because it's not as important where the pucks lie up. It'll either be covered by you or brushed to the side. Vision actually a -3. I mostly play in 3s, so get that to an 86, because we have a light work as our superstar ability. Breakaway here, so -1 for breakaway, and we're gonna put a +5 for the recovery at 96. What a lovely sight. So if you do play more 6s than 3s, you can switch the breakaway and vision ratings and lower the breakaway to 86 and pump up the vision to like an 89. You do face breakaways in 6s, but not as much in 3s, so if you give them up, your team won't be as mad as you for it. If you have your vision higher, in most situations and covering as many saves as possible, you will make more saves having vision higher than breakaway, because the chances are higher with low danger shots rather than like 1-on-0s. So also get better defensemen in front of you. And there you have it. This is my NHL 22 goalie build. It may be tweaked over time, but that's her, folks. So feel free to steal her, mess around. Don't steal my gear swag though. Main solid color pads to match the pants, and then alternate color solid gloves. Thanks for watching. Godspeed.